Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com where music comes to life. And my guest today was last on the site back in 2021 when he released the debut record with his Cadillac Band. You know him best as the founding member and bassist for thrash legends Overkill, but he's here today because on September 19th, he'll release a new record with the Cadillac Band called Buckle Up. Please welcome Dee Verni. Welcome, Dee.
Hey, thank you, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And, as we mentioned, the first record with Dee Verni and the Cadillac Band came out in 2021. And it was really sort of your first professional foray into big band music. How do you feel the record was received and what was the feedback you got on it?
Uh, was received really well by almost, I would say, by everyone. I was kind of a little skeptical on how the metal community was going to be like, if I was going to get, what the hell are you doing or what are you thinking? But instead, it was like maybe because a lot of metalheads are same age bracket as me. And they've come through the same ranks as me, and they're in a similar place in life. Um, and they kind of the energy that you feel in a big band and this kind of record they can relate to because I'm writing for Overkill, so I'm also writing for this. There's going to be a certain energy that's in the song that I think will come across the metalhead. So I got a bunch of calls from guys in bands and a bunch of fans everywhere we go, always telling me something about Cadillac this or Cadillac that. So really the reception to it all the way across the board was pretty good. And then for the metal community. But then even in, people, the big, the rockabilly community and the people that kind of do listen to this kind of music, the stuff that that I heard quite a bit was, it sounds like a band that's been together for, 20 years, that it sounds so seamless and so effortless and confident. And I'm like, well, that's great if that comes across because it's definitely new ground, so it was really good all the way across the board.
And when we spoke then, you mentioned how difficult it would be to kind of get everyone in the same room and record this as a big band. You have people on different coasts and a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
For Buckle Up, did you continue that remote idea or were you able to do some in-person sessions?
No, this one was even more remote. I would again love, nothing would make me happier than to just say, here's a big old budget, fly everybody out to LA, get in the studio. We got a month. Let's, it would be so much fun to do that. But even for Overkill and a lot of bands, it's kind of almost like a forgotten art form to kind of do it that way. I mean, we did. I count myself lucky that we got to do so many records that way, where I would, go away with the guys and it would just be us locked in the studio and we'd sleep there. We'd be in the studio 18 hours a day and it was a lot of fun. And we got to do music that way. And it would be a lot of fun to do this too. But this one was not done that way. It was done everybody in different locations, sharing demos, sharing files. That's the way a lot of times, even with Overkill Records, a lot of the work is done. You get together when you can, and because there's still no completely replacing that. I feel like anyway, and but yeah, that's the way this one was too.
And now, band wise, were you able to keep largely the same musicians for the first two records? Did you bring in some new faces?
I have a lot. It's a lot of new people on this one. Johnny Hatton, who played bass, he played bass on the first record. He also played on this one. But Bernie Dressel came and played drums, who is just, I mean, this guy is like, he's one of the guys that invented the genre. If there is a genre for rock swing mixed together, rock and roll and swing. But he just amazing, amazing drummer. And he killed it on it. So I was so happy to have him along. And one of the biggest changes was I had a different horn arrangement guy. I worked with a guy named Jim McMillan on this record who did the last record. I really liked what was going on with the horns, but I was kind of new to it.
Mhm.
So this one, I had more of an idea of what I wanted. I wanted this one to feel a little bit more big band, esque in the arrangements. The last one were more like rock and roll horns, where they were just playing big riffs in unison. This one, the saxes and the trumpets kind of playing off each other. I wanted more of that kind of vibe. And this guy Jim was, I sent him, I sent him one or two songs just to kind of see what he could do and if we could connect or whatever. And I got arrangements back pretty quickly that I was just absolutely blown away. I was like, and both of us, he's like, I love these songs. And I was like, oh my God, I love these arrangements. So it was really good. We clicked well and worked well together. And he's also a trombone player as well as an arrangement guy. So he had some guys that he had worked with on the West Coast that did all the horn parts, and I did most of the guitars. And then I had Kingston and Graystar, the two ladies who sang on the first record. They sang on this record too. So they're like the OG of the band. They've been there since the first demos I did on every show I've done. They're kind of part of the nucleus of what I do, and they're great, and they're beautiful, and they're easy to and fun to be with. So I'll keep them around as long as they'll have me. So some people, yes, and then a lot of new faces too.
Yeah. And we talked a little last time too, but I think it's even more evident on this record. You talk about sending out the demos to have the horn arrangements added on. And at the end of the day, when you take all that orchestration off, these are, four chord rock and roll, songs derived from, punk and rock that you've done your whole career.
Yeah.
But just with all of this added on to it. And I think that comes through a lot more in Buckle Up. You feel that energy and that rawness of these songs that I think really elevates it past where that first record was.
Well, everybody that I kind of worked with, like when I had first done the demo, I had played all the guitars on it, and I thought to myself, well, I'll get like a more kind of a jazzier guy, and I'll get somebody to play more of that kind of chords and that kind of stuff. But it seemed like everywhere across the line, from Jim, who was doing the horn arrangements, and then Angus Clark, who plays guitar, some guitar on it, and he plays guitar in the band and live band, and Verni even, and John even, I really were kind of pushing me towards, no, don't do that. Keep those guitars. You play those guitars. That's the charm of the demo. That's the charm of the songs I'm hearing, is that it's kind of like that. And then, I kind of just embraced that, and I said, well, just play how you would play and what you would do, and we'll pile it all on and see where it goes. And I think that's what gives it, like you're saying, some of its personality, and some of it different from some of the other stuff that you may hear like this, because I really don't have any jazz roots, especially in my playing. So I'm not going to bring that to guitar playing. I'm going to bring rock and roll to my guitar playing. And they can bring some of those jazz elements and big band and swing and, kind of all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was exactly the approach. And I just stuck with it.
One of the highlights on Buckle Up is definitely your cover of Two of a Kind with Jim Heath of Reverend Horton
Right.
Heath. You
Right.
guys take on that Bobby Darin, Johnny Mercer role in the song. How did
Yeah.
you pick that song and how did you get Jim involved?
Well, actually, I had that song that I wanted to put that on the first record. We just kind of ran out of time. We ran out of space. We just never got to it. So I put it off on the side. And when I started getting things together for this record, I said, I really would still love to do that song. But it's a duet. So, it's like, who are you going to do it with? And there was, talking with all kinds of people, just wife and friends and guys in the band, who could we get? Who could we ask? Everything from, let's ask a guy in a metal band that you would never expect, to somebody who maybe makes sense. Or we even thought about having a woman. It's like Two of a Kind doesn't have to be, So we kind of explored all kinds of things. And Overkill was playing up at the New England Hardcore Metal Festival up in Massachusetts. And the night before the festival, Reverend Horton Heat was playing the warm-up show across the street. and the promoter called and said, they're playing. And I'm like, oh, geez, we drove up, because it was a one-off for us. I'm like, I'm just going to crash here. He's like, it's right across the street. I'm like, all right, I got to go check it out. Said that's just too easy to pass up. So I went there, kind of just walked in the club, place was packed, and they came out and they killed it. I was like, wow, what a great fucking band. And as we started going down the line, I said, I wonder whether Jim would do it. I didn't know him. We've never met, we've never spoken, never anything, nothing. I got a hold of his agent somehow. I got an email for his agent and just wrote him out of the blue. And I said, this is Dee Dee from Overkill. I'm doing this. I know it seems crazy, but I think Jim would be awesome on this. I think it would be a lot of fun. Can you pass me his info? He passed me his info. I wrote to Jim, and I don't know, a day or two later, he's like, "Oh, I would love to. I love this. I love Bobby Darin and Johnny Mercer especially, and I love the way this is going." And then we got into logistics because they tour a lot. Like, when do you need it by, and that kind of thing. And so it all just kind of started lining up. And so we did the recording, and it was awesome. And then as it got even past then, we were starting to put things together for a video, and they said, what about this song? And looking at their schedule, he said, oh my God, they're going to be in Jersey. So we made the video, like, I think they had a day off before or whatever. And I said, if we were doing the video this day, you guys were playing Jersey the next day. And he's like, hell yeah, let's do it. So actually the first time I met Jim, like that, we shook hands and said, hey, how you doing? Was on stage at the video shoot. That was the first time. So we're like, well, let's just see how it goes, but we had a great time. We really connected, we're telling stories, kind of laughing. It was a good time. And then I went to see their show in Jersey the next day, met the rest of the guys in the band. They were great, nice guys too. Had a great show. It was fun. Jim is a lot of fun. His band was a lot of fun. Doing the song and the video are a lot of fun. I mean, and that's really what this whole project is about, is having a good time.
And speaking of that, you have a few covers on the record, and some, like Two of a Kind, Man with the Golden Arm, make perfect sense.
Right.
But then you have an ABBA deep cut. Where does So
Yeah.
Long come from?
Well, I don't know. You know, I guess it's a stretch, but like we have a song. There's a song on there, Jambalaya, too,
Yeah.
that is, it's a Hank Williams song. I mean, if you hear the original on that, it's like,
Yeah,
what the
true,
hell?
true.
How are you doing that? But for some reason, that doesn't seem like as much of a stretch to people. I get asked this a lot about
Yeah.
the ABBA thing, but ABBA has number one. I'm an ABBA fan. Hate to say it, but I am. I just saw Mamma Mia a couple of weeks ago. Took my kids into the city to go see it, and it's great fun. And they just have great songs, a
Yeah.
lot of great songs. I mean, some of the disco-y stuff is a little much. I was like, not that so much. But if you listen to a lot of their stuff, uh, there's songs that are kind of rock and roll edged, even 70s. But so I wasn't looking for anything in particular. I must have, maybe I had Spotify or something, and that song kind of came on and just grabbed my ear, and I was like, that sounds like something I could do. So I started spending a little bit of time with it, and it came together, pretty quickly. Where I said, it almost feels like one of my songs. So I kind of gravitated to it, and I knew I had the girls, in the band too, that could. I said, though, they could lend some vocals to this too that would kind of pull it together. So just little by little, it just came to fruition, but wasn't looking for anything in particular. I always have an ear open for, especially this kind of music.
Yeah.
Even if you listen to the Setzer records, it's like, oh, I love that one. I love that one. And you find out they're old songs, that you don't know, you're not aware. You think of them as his songs because the arrangements, and they've changed so much. But at the core, like we said, like those old songs, old Hank Williams songs, it's just three chords. That's all it is. You know what I mean? So it lends itself to kind of what I'm doing too. And I keep my ears open for, it was even this. I had thought about doing a Motorhead song for a while that I had a big band arrangement on. That was like, wow, this is really out there. But we went with this one instead. But who knows? Maybe that'll show up down the line. You never know.
Yeah. The record, it's a great mix of, like I said, of covers like that and original stuff that you put together for it. And I know when we spoke before, you said you're always writing. When you write, are you in a mode where you're like, okay, these are Overkill songs, these are Cadillac Band, this is solo stuff, or do you just write what's coming to you and then kind of sort it out after?
Yeah, that's totally the way it is. It's I never know what kick I'm on. Um, it could be that I was watching a lot of movies, and so whatever I'm taking in input where you're hearing a lot more orchestrations and that kind of thing. So maybe you're subliminally you're hearing melodies like that. So you'll be like, wow, okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know what this is going to be. Definitely not Overkill stuff,
Yeah.
but you're humming into your recorder or you're playing along or maybe, I'm on a, um, like recently I just been listening to a ton of Bobby Darin. And so it just kind of puts your head in that space and kind of, then you're kind of your hands are playing more that kind of thing. Your brain is thinking more that kind of thing. And then when you find some new metal record that you're really into, that'll plug into that. So when you go back and listen to tapes, you can almost see segments. It was like, well, where was I? Wow, this is a whole 2 months of no Overkill stuff material at all because I was in a different kind of headspace. But yeah, that's usually what I'm doing. It's just always kind of putting stuff down and then I'll sort it out when I need to.
And now we have this record coming out on September 19th. It's been a couple years since Scorch, the last Overkill record.
Right.
Any idea when we'll be seeing new music from that band?
We're demoing stuff right now. We probably have maybe 9 or 10 songs kind of scratched out
Yeah.
that I gave to Blitz a little while ago. Usually the process is I'll demo everything up musically, then I'll give it to Blitz. He'll spend some time with it and kind of do his thing with them. Then we get everybody together, kind of that. So I gave it to Blitz maybe not too long ago. Um, I would I would think next year for sure.
Yeah.
Just when will it be?
Yeah.
Spring? Will it be fall? Somewhere in there, but 26 will definitely be a new Overkill record.
Yeah. And you have a Cadillac Band show booked in Jersey in December. Will you be
Yep.
doing any other shows with them, or is that just the only one on the schedule for now?
Well, we're talking about it. If you're going to round everybody up, you might as well
Yeah.
try and put a few around it. So we have that one in the books now, and kind of working through what the set is going to be,
Mhm.
and it's Christmas. A few things in there for that. But yeah, you can keep your eyes open, or we'd love to put some more shows around that and do a little bit around December to see how that goes.
Mhm. And off topic a little bit, I just read Gary Holt's book. And
Right,
what I really liked about it is it wasn't just the story of him and Exodus. It really brought in kind of the Bay Area scene of that time. Now,
right,
you guys with Overkill, you were there at the creation of the East Coast scene. And
right.
for those of us who grew up then watching all of you guys as you were starting out, have you ever thought of putting a book together and telling your story and that of Overkill and the East Coast thrash scene?
Uh, I mean, for me, that would I would never do that. I would. There is even to be asked it. If, like anybody who knows me, I'm a pretty private guy for the most part. I'm a pretty shy person to begin with, and the idea that I would put anything like that together is just no matter how much money, no matter how many zeros were put up in front of me, there is you can put that one in the books as 100%. Not that anybody would give a damn anyway, but there is absolutely 0% chance that that would ever happen for me. That's
Well,
just the way it is.
we've been spending some time here with Dee Dee Verni. The band is called Dee Dee Verni and the Cadillac Band. The record is Buckle Up. It's a fun listen. I highly recommend it. It's out everywhere on September 19th. I know all the pre-orders are available. Dee Dee, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. It's always a pleasure to have you on and talk about this.
You bet. It's nice to talk about something besides Overkill all the time,
Yeah.
and we're proud of the record. And if we do come to your town, come out and see a show. It's a lot of fun.
I look forward to it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, man.